Welcome everybody to It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? Xbox Game Pass hits 120 million monthly active users. I know what you're thinking. That's so many active users. No reason to lay off, right? Yeah, think again. Xbox says, although there was a 13% decline in revenue versus last year, Game Pass subscriptions are reaching new highs. Reportedly, it has hit 120 million active users. Microsoft reported in quarter two earnings, which included the 13% decline in revenue compared to the same period last year. However, it's not all bad news. Ladies and gentlemen, Game Pass, I believe, is an official hit with gamers. 120 million active subscribers. Game Pass has the two tiers. You have the regular Game Pass, and you have Game Pass Ultimate. One's $10.99, one's $15. And damn, that's a lot of money. Sorry, I did the math earlier, and it still boggles my mind. At the regular Game Pass price at $10 at 120 million, that's like $1.2 billion if I did the math right, a month. That's a lot of money. Game Pass has been on an upward trend. Sony has been following it as well with their own subscription service. Nintendo, well, they don't really play in anyone's yard, so put them out. 120 million subscribers. That seems like a hell of a jump from, I believe, last year was 25 million. So, I mean, even the pandemic didn't see that kind of an increase. So that's a hell of an increase. Whether or not I buy it, that seems really fishy. But, I mean, Game Pass is a hell of a subscription service. So, Pat, you look like you want to do some math and jump in here.
Well, I don't know if you can claim that. I mean, it's 120 million active users. You know, you could have multiple people active on an account. So, you know, so maybe not. I don't know. But, you know, also remember, some of those subscriptions are $9.99 subscriptions and some of them are $14.99 subscriptions. So if you get Ultimate, then it's $15. It's just they're throwing in the, and they can't really lie about it. It's on their earnings report. So it's what's reported. So if they're lying about it, somebody's cooking the books.
They can lie. But you're right.
But why would you lie to increase your numbers if you're in a loss season like they are right now? 13% decline in revenue overall for Microsoft is the reason why they're doing layoffs. They got to preserve the shareholders, which is the garbage way of looking at everything. But unfortunately, that's what it is. They have to protect their shareholders. And when you're in a decline, you have to figure out a way to keep the shareholders happy, and that is by cutting costs. So if you can't increase revenue, the only other thing is to decrease costs. And the only way to decrease costs is to try to refine some processes. And when that doesn't work, you have to let go of staff, which is unfortunate because that's what they did. And even though their gaming side of the industry is still making them money, they had to lose some people because Microsoft as a company is losing money, not necessarily Xbox Gaming, which I think Xbox Gaming did lose money. They weren't like where they were supposed to be. And it's been a crappy year for games, right? For Xbox, because they're not. 2022 was kind of a bust, in my opinion, for Microsoft. They didn't have a whole lot of games, and 2023 is somewhat looking better as long as they can keep stuff on track and quit pushing crap out the door, in the next year. But we'll see. But yeah, I mean, if they do have 120 million active subscribers, yeah, it's, at a minimum, they're making $1.2 billion a month in revenue right there. But, that's not profit, right? They've got other things they have to consider. How much are they paying the developers and the publishers out of that money and stuff like that? So while they may be pulling in 1.2 billion, how much of that 1.2 billion is going out to publishers and developers whose games land on Game Pass through contract and negotiation? So, we don't know that. We will never know that. But I think Game Pass is a worthwhile subscription service. I mean, I'm on the $15 a month plan. I have it for PC and Xbox. So, and even then, I wish they would put out a yearly plan that was discounted, but it's $180. At that current rate, if 3 games come to Game Pass that I would have bought, I'm on a win-win situation right there, right? Because I would have bought those 3 games for, they're $70 a pop right now. So, I'm already saving $30 right there and what I would have paid. So to me, it's a win-win situation. And I do buy stuff like that. And that's how I budget my stuff. So Game Pass to me is worth it. I'm pretty sure last year I played like 8 or 9 games that I would have bought for $60. So it saved me money. And this year it's already on track to save me money because there's going to be some games that'll come out this year that I won't have to pay $70 for. So for me, Game Pass is a no-brainer, and I stay subscribed all year long. When it first came out as a service, I would subscribe for a month, play a few games, unsubscribe for 3 or 4 months, resubscribe, play some stuff, and unsubscribe. But I don't do that anymore. I just stay subscribed. But if they put out a yearly plan and it gave me a discount, I would definitely buy into that. And I'm waiting for the damn family plan. How about you? How about you, Nick? What do you think of Game Pass and reaching that 120 million active users?
That's good. Yeah. Bring the family plan. I'm waiting for the family plan. Then those active users will go down, unless they're counting individual accounts, and it'll stay the same. But yeah, I mean, Game Pass has proven over and over again that it is worth its value. And, especially with this year, 2023, which, I agree with you. 2022 was a bust for Microsoft, for Xbox in particular. They did have some Game Pass games that came out that were pretty cool, but it was kind of a lackluster year for them. But they're kind of putting all their eggs in one basket for 2023, and they've already had their developer conference highlight thing not too long ago, which showed off some games we already knew about, but did show off one that we did not know about, Hi-Fi Rush from Tango Softworks. And, that is getting praise all over the place for that game. So I'm sure, and that is a Game Pass game. So I'm sure that may have boosted some. I mean, this was already put in. These earnings call was before this game, but still, that would have put in probably even more Game Pass subscribers. And the fact that Starfield and various things, and people know that 2023 is going to be big for Xbox, at least we're hoping so. Like Pat said, if they can keep it on track, so that may have also convinced those that were on the fence to go ahead and make the jump into Game Pass, because they know, okay, 2023 is coming. I'll go ahead and subscribe now and get in for anything because we know like Redfall's coming out in May. Forza Motorsport, for those people that like the Forza Motorsport games, that's coming out sometime this year. We got, an Elder Scroll expansion. That's what they showed off there. Then this Hi-Fi Rush game that's getting really good reviews. And then who else knows what's coming out this year? We have other games. May see something from Obsidian and various stuff like that coming out this year that are going to go straight to Game Pass, especially the stuff that they contract that we don't know about. These games coming out here soon. Wulong, that Dark Souls type game, is going to be coming to Game Pass. And there's a lot more that's already slated for Game Pass. Atomic Heart, which is coming out soon, I know a lot of people are looking forward to, is also coming to Game Pass. So there is a lot of games out there that are coming to Game Pass, PC and console wise, that people want to play. And it is a no-brainer to go ahead and subscribe to the service. There's a lot of games on there that just like Pat, I've played that I would have bought, but since it's on Game Pass, I'm just like, cool, I'll just play it here. And there's a lot of games that one of the coolest things about the service that I find is I come across games that I would have never touched or even thought about playing. And then I see them on Game Pass. I'm like, I have the service, might as well try them out. And I come across some really cool titles that I would have never given, the light of day to before. But now that I have Game Pass, I tried them out because I thought it, might be good. And some of them end up being, some of my favorite games are really awesome games that I never would have known about. So it's a great service to be able to find games that, you may not regularly play, and also to play a variety of different games, right? There's a huge variety of different games on there. And even if you're, a big first person shooter guy, you might find that, hey, there's a platformer on here that I really enjoy, or a racing game that I really enjoy, even though I usually play first person shooters. And there's plenty of those on the service, and more gets added and taken away from the service. But, even at $10, if you don't have a PC to play them on, $10 a month isn't too bad, especially if you buy, if you play one $60 or $70 game on there, that $10 is for that month, right? Has definitely paid for itself in that sense. So, that's a purchase you didn't have to make. You only had to spend $10 for whatever game it was instead of the $60 or $70 price tag. And then you get to play it even if you subscribe for a month, let's say. Or if you have the ultimate, which is $15, the cool thing about that is you get different games on PC. Most of them are the same, but there are some different releases on PC for Game Pass. And a lot of the games between Xbox and PC are cross save. So if you're playing on your Xbox and you decide you're going to play on your PC, maybe you're traveling or something, you take your gaming computer or gaming laptop with you, you can get on there and play the same game exactly where you left off if it has the cross save option, which is awesome. So it's an all in all great service. So I'm not surprised to see that it's going up in its active player base. I would suspect it's going to continue to rise. There's going to be times where it's going to fall, and it's going to have its ebbs and flows. But I think, and ultimately, it's going to stay strong. We weren't sure about Game Pass when it first came out. I think a lot of people weren't. But Game Pass has proven that a service like this can be sustainable and can work. Microsoft has proven that with Game Pass. Sony's trying to do it with their PlayStation Plus. They don't quite got that down yet. They're kind of starting out the same way Game Pass did, right? It hasn't really caught on. But Sony's kind of going in the wrong direction with it to really catch on as much as Game Pass has, because the day and date releases, right? If Sony does that, guess what? That's going to catch fire for Sony. But right now they're not doing it, so it's not going to. It's just going to piddle and kind of sit there. But this is great for gamers, really. Good for Microsoft. I'm glad it's going up for Microsoft, because that means that this service isn't going to go away, right? This service is going to maintain and retain itself there. So we're not going to see Microsoft decide, oh, this isn't working out, because it clearly is, it's a good thing. So all around, it's a win-win, like Patrick said. What do you think, Shane?
Well, first of all, bonus points for you for using the phrase ebbs and flows. I don't hear that one too often, so nice. I couldn't disagree with anything you guys have said. I understand why Microsoft can hit these numbers, because it is a phenomenal service. It's an extremely high number. And like I said at the beginning, I don't know if the way they count it, the way it's phrased, is purely accurate, but I love Game Pass. And like Nick pointed out, it's gotten us to try things we've not tried. Nick is the I'll play anything guy. Literally will play freaking anything. And because of him, he's broadened me and Pat's, gaming, repertoire quite a bit. We're playing all sorts of stuff that we would not typically play. I like shooters, action-y games, things like that, are good RPGs. But I'm playing some, some 8-bit retro game type stuff. What's that one where you play the little monster, you come out of the walls and stuff? Criterion or something like that. But it was just
something like that.
It was some great little game he told us about. And then there was the pinball game that I got hooked on. I would have never picked up those games. And
didn't we play that in your game room for like one night while we were at your house?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We played it pinball a lot. And it's one of those things that, why not? I mean, you technically paid for it. You paid your monthly subscription. You paid for that game. Play it. if it looks remotely interesting, if there's anything in the phrasing of the description or just the image you see that kind of cool, try it out. Your mind could be blown. You might find something that just like blows your mind that you would never expect to enjoy. So 120 million subscribers. You don't really very often hear anybody, developer or a subscriber, complain about Game Pass. Like Pat said, when it first came out, I was just like him. I'd pay this month and I'm gonna let it go for a little bit because there's just really nothing. And then it got to the point, here's my credit card, just take it out each month and we'll call it good, because there's always something on there I can play. When I jumped on today, fired up the Hi-Fi. We're not doing a review, but I can tell you from what I did play, I really like it. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. Gives off great vibes. And I also jumped on some GoldenEye for a bit, which it looks and plays exactly like GoldenEye from Nintendo. So, but it's a great service. I understand the 120 million subscribers. I don't know what, you're right, Pat. I don't know what kind of money they're taking home after expenses, but even if they take home 10 freaking % of that 1.2 billion a month, that's a butt ton of money still. That's money that I can't do in my head. So, do you think they could have hit 150 million? I mean, because they don't have, I don't know what the total count is between Xbox One and Xbox Series is, as far as overall consoles. So a lot of that number, I'm guessing, has got to be for PC because it's a great PC service. So that's another $15 right there. So, I mean, that 1.2 billion is just the low point. I mean, that's just lowballing it. So, I see this really helping Microsoft, and I see why Sony followed up with their service. And you're right, Nick, it doesn't even remotely compare, because they refuse to put day and date on their new releases, on their console exclusives, I should say. So, they did it with Stray, and I think they probably did it as a test run. We played Stray, reviewed Stray, loved Stray. So maybe it will entice them a little bit more because if I remember right, Stray was pretty damn popular on PlayStation. So
Right, but it wasn't a day one on their service.
No, I thought Stray released day one on
It did release day one.
Did it? I don't remember that happening because I was pretty sure I own Stray.
But
I don't have it.
But it was only for like the premium version of the service.
Yeah,
which is the more expensive one.
So that's why I don't own the premium and I own the game.
And the game is not a Sony.
It's not a first party. No,
a first party. Yeah.
But it is an exclusive to Sony, just not a Sony first party. So, Microsoft is going to lead the way on Game Pass type, game subscription type stuff, because Nintendo is not going to follow suit in any form or fashion. What they have now is nothing comparable, and that's fine. Nintendo's doing what Nintendo does, and they're doing it a hell of a lot cheaper than any of them. But it would be nice to see Nintendo maybe follow up with something a little more similar to Game Pass. And Sony would, I think Sony's making a big mistake, because if they market it properly with first party games, I think they could dominate even more than they are now. But we, as we all know, Sony is not a consumer friendly. They're not really forward thinking anymore, and they haven't been for a while for these types of things. But I like that them being in the lead has pushed Microsoft to think outside the box. That's how we got Game Pass, and that's how you innovate. Competition breeds innovation. That's what Game Pass is. So. You guys got anything else? You think they'll hit that 150 million mark?
I think eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're gonna you're going to reach a PC saturation, and there's just not that many Xboxes out in the wild. We're talking Series 1 and Series X's.
Yeah.
So I think the Series 1 sold like 85 million or 58 million. I get those numbers transposed sometimes. I can't remember if it's 58 or 85 million units total in its lifetime. So, and I don't see, I think it takes a while but you're going to hit a PC saturation before that. Now, if the Xbox series continues to do well, maybe, but I bet it's slow down. It'll be a long time before we hit that 150 million mark, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think the only thing that can keep them from reaching it, though, personally, is the PC side of things. They keep making good PC games on the Game Pass, making those more frequent, because I don't see enough frequency on PC specific games. But I don't jump into my PC as much.
If you own an Xbox, it doesn't have to be PC specific. It can be a game that's released on both, but you just own a PC. So
no, because there were some games that don't go from PC to Xbox.
Right, but there's a lot of titles that are released on Xbox that are also on PC. And what I'm saying is that if you own a PC and not an Xbox, you would subscribe to it just so those games that are on PC, because you own a PC and no other console. There's a lot of people out there that own a PC that don't own a video game console. There's plenty of those people out there.
Oh, yes, that's true. They are the master race. But yeah, I want to see them progress. I want to see Game Pass evolve. I want to see it stay at a reasonable rate. That's my biggest concern. Microsoft's dropping people. Next, probably raising money, because if we don't take care of shareholders, who's going to take care of Americans? Well, you guys got anything else? All right. Well, thank you for getting all the way to the end. Thank you for subscribing, because I bet you are. And if you haven't, hit that button, hit that notification. And most importantly, tell us what you think. Do you got Game Pass? Do you like Game Pass? What you like, what you don't like? Do you subscribe to Sony's Game Pass, form, whatever the hell that thing's called? So let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. See ya.